The arcade here in Japan that I've been going to recently got rid of their Dance Dance Revolution machine. Needless to say, I was upset, since that's probably one of my favorite rhythm games. Not all hope was lost though. In its place stood DanceRush Stardom, which came out just a couple months ago in Japan only. It's made by Bimani and published by Konami, the exact same developer/publisher combo as Dance Dance Revolution, as well as other great rhythm game series like Poppin' Music and Beatmania. Needless to say, these folks know what they're doing when it comes to rhythm games, and I'd consider myself a fan. Let's take a look at their newly released DanceRush Stardom and see what it can do. Let's just go ahead and pop the game in here, and sorry, give it a second to load. Alright, this ought to do it. Oh, well, what do you know, there we go. that was easy actually. Not as hard as I thought it'd be. Let's begin. The first thing to notice is how it's controlled. Much like DDR, you use your feet to hit the beat markers as they make their way to the end of the screen. The major difference, however, is that there are no arrow buttons. The whole pad that you stand on is one big sensor, so you have a lot more freedom in where you stand and how you play. It definitely solves the problem of losing track of where the physical buttons were in DDR. As for the notes, they'll come rushing down the screen towards you, where you can take a step anywhere on the pad whenever the note hits the judgment line. As typical of rhythm games, this must be done in time with the music, and you'll be given more points depending on how accurate you were. It does get a little more complex than that, though. Every note is marked with a color coordinating to whether you have to use your left or right foot. There are also whole notes and slide notes, the latter of which are pretty cleverly used in many songs to kind of make you do the moonwalk. There are also duck and jump markers, which make you do just that whenever they approach. Simple, but they add just that extra bit of dynamicness to keep things interesting. Now that we know how to play, let's take a look at the song list, shall we? Unfortunately, this is where the game starts to fail, in my opinion. The song list here is minuscule. I can scroll from the top to the bottom here in just a few seconds. As if this wasn't bad enough, you have to unlock most songs individually. When you clear a song, you get a star rating, which those stars can then be used to purchase new songs. You can unlock certain achievements, and as a reward they'll give you discounts on the songs, but they don't unlock them outright, they just give you discounts. Like, come on, why is that necessary? It seems like they're trying to push a microtransaction model onto this game, but there is none. I'm expecting it to pop up with a message saying I can buy a song with real money, but there's nothing like that. It's a good thing there aren't microtransactions, since Konami is pretty infamous for being a scummy company. But since there aren't, why do I have to go through the grind like a microtransaction game would make me? Just have all the songs unlocked from the very beginning, like literally every other arcade rhythm game does. And since the song list is so small, you have access to a whopping 3 songs of the hardest difficulty, with 2 requiring a hefty amount of stars to unlock. That's it. Whoa, Brandman! You're already playing on the hardest difficulty? Nice, you might say. No, not nice. See, this game has only 2 difficulties, easy and normal. It's not that I haven't unlocked hard mode or something. There truly are only those 2 difficulties, and that is just pathetic. You can accelerate the speed at which notes come down the screen, but that's all you'll get in terms of making it harder. But I was still able to play the hardest songs on normal on my second time playing this game. The main reason for that isn't necessarily that there aren't many difficulty options, it's that the game is just fundamentally easy. Let me explain. See this whole dance mat on the cabinet? Yeah, you don't use the whole thing. Since the judgment line in-game is a straight horizontal line, that's all you'll need to use on the pad. This basically boils down to the game being like DDR, except without the up and down arrows. Taking out that verticality makes it into, well, a literal walking simulator. Yes, there is the moonwalking I mentioned before, which admittedly does take a little bit of time to get the hang of, and it really shows that this game has some potential, but again, I was able to play on the hardest difficulty with 5-star ratings on my second or third time playing. If the hardest technique is that easily conquered, the game needs some work. One other thing worth mentioning is that the machine can't actually tell which foot is which. Just because a button on screen is marked for your left foot or your right foot, you can use either one. There are times when it tries to make you cross your legs by putting right foot notes on the left and left foot notes on the right, but in actuality there is no need, just use whichever leg is closer. The game may be simple, but the most heinous part here is that they could have made it harder. 8th notes are extremely rare and 16th notes are non-existent. The whole notes very rarely go into experimental, challenging formations, and the duck and jump notes are always lined up in easy places. Put them somewhere I wouldn't expect to have to jump or duck. Make me confused, make me think. This game could have been harder, but the developers just chose not to make it harder, and I have no idea why. I truly think DanceRush Stardom was an interesting concept, and with some improvements I think it has some potential. However, this first version was horrendously bad, and I will not be playing it again. I don't find this game to be too easy because I'm good at DDR. I think it's a completely different game, and my skill at DDR did not translate to DanceRush Stardom, due to the note types and even the way you move your feet being completely and fundamentally different. The difficulty was just way too easy to the point of boredom, due in part to the game's fundamental design, and the puzzling choice of the developers to purposefully make it easy. Also, as I'm sure the publishers Konami are at fault, the game forces you to unlock songs as opposed to them being all available at the start, making it feel like you're trying to play some bad microtransaction game without paying any money, which is not fulfilling or rewarding, as I'm sure EA would know. Also, did I mention that you only get 2 songs per coin? Literally every arcade rhythm game gives you 3, sometimes 4. Even Konami games. Why did they make it only 2 for DanceRush Stardom? The songs aren't longer or anything. I don't get it. And if it couldn't get any worse, the tutorial counts as one of your songs. So yeah, to conclude, this game is a waste of time and money. Maybe they can fix the issues in a software update, like more songs and difficulties, more note types, and taking away that stupid unlock system. But as it is now, I hated this game, and I urge you to stay away from it. Japanese arcades are famous for their large amounts of unique and varied rhythm games, so there really is just no reason to play this one. The only rush in DanceRush Stardom is a rush of disappointment. Play literally anything else.